What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, and in today's video I just want to talk about my plan for tomorrow, what stocks I'm going to be buying, and what effect I think the fact that we just had the stimulus round, I don't know, round three now, that just got passed, because I think that's going to have a big boosting effect on the stock market overall. And maybe it's already priced in, who knows, you can't go in assuming anything, but my best guess would be that we see a really nice rebound after the long week of red days. And again, Friday bounced back nicely. I think we see that continue on Monday. Monday could be one of those gap and go type of days where the stock markets open up higher and then they just run all day long. Again, we can't count on that, but that's what I'm expecting. And I think we can see a lot of momentum come back into these stocks that have been heavily beaten down, especially in OTC land. And maybe it just waits until the stimulus checks actually come in. I'm not an expert in this, but that is personally what I'm expecting. Now, does this mean things could not get ugly again? No. It doesn't mean that things can't get ugly again. Things could still get ugly again for sure. And if I had to guess, I would say we see some type of rebound until after the checks come in, and then at that point, I think it gets a little bit uglier again, but I could be totally off on that, and I'm just going to do my best to respond to what the market shows me. But I think it's good to go in having an expectation so that we can be a little more aggressive in those areas where being aggressive might give us a bigger payoff. So there's some stocks that had some news come out and it's looking pretty good for them. So I want to talk about those today, talk about the ones that I'm planning on buying, and basically just give you guys a rundown of what I think is going to happen and what I'm going to be doing. Because, if I'm doing something right, if I'm profiting thousands a day, so if I can help you guys make even a small percentage of that, this video is worth my time to make. So hopefully you find this helpful. If you do, smash that like button. Press it gently, whatever you want to do. I know if you're against violence, I'm not going to make you smash it. And subscribe if you have not already, because I make these videos every single day, so let's get into it. All right, guys, so I'm here on my laptop, and the number one stock that I want to talk about is HCMC. Now, if you'll recall, you guys actually commented this a lot under my YouTube videos, and for a long time, I ignored it because it has such a gross share structure. This stock has over 120 billion. It's around that area. 120 billion share float. I mean, billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of shares outstanding that are being traded every day, which makes it very difficult to, feel comfortable about the share structure of this company, because with that many shares outstanding, this company, if it goes to $1, that's a $120 billion company, etc. And obviously this is a sub penny right now. It's dub 15, so not even at 1 penny yet. But you definitely got to be careful with stocks that have outstanding share structures that are this gross. There's just so many shares out there, and that means that there could be a player who has 2 billion shares. And if he decides to sell 2 billion shares all at once, it can have a nice little impact on the price of the stock. So you just gotta be aware of that. But because the share structure is so gross, because there's so many shares outstanding, I talked about this a little bit in other videos, it's basically, you can see here, there's a wall of sellers and there's a wall of buyers. And when it's about to move up, it's very obvious, because again, you're going to have 500 million buyers and 500 million sellers. And one of those walls is going to get whacked away at, and eventually it's going to break. So if you see there's 500 million buyers and suddenly there's 400 million sellers, 300 million, 200 million, 100 million, 50 million, it's pretty likely that it's about to break that wall of sellers and move up, which means the momentum is a little bit easier to read on stocks like this. But again, with the spread, you got to be really careful, because if you buy on the ask, and you need to get out quickly, you're not going to be able to sell on the ask. So you're going to have to sell on the bid, and you're going to lose the difference. So if you buy 1 million shares, you lose $100 if you buy on the ask and sell on the bid. So just keep that in mind. Now, the reason I want to talk about this stock is for a couple of reasons. Now, you can see here, if I go to the 1 month chart with the 30-minute candles, I really like that in terms of seeing bigger perspectives on the chart versus just, having the daily. If you have 30 minutes, it lets you see stuff a little bit better. You can see it had a downtrend for a really long time here. And it actually ended up breaking the downtrend. You can see, it broke it really nicely. It was holding this downtrend and it broke the downtrend. Now it's above the downtrend. Why is this important? It's important because if we go here, we can see on the 5th, which is on Friday, at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, this is after the market closed, they released their financial data for quarter 4 of 2020. And what were the results? Well, let's go to the news right here. You can see they deliver improvement in adjusted EBITDA for fiscal year 2020 despite 8% reduction in net sales due to the pandemic. And, for a company like this, it looks like it's actually really surprising. It's actually really surprising. So, they have gross profit of, $5.8 million. Is that incredible? No, I'm not sure what their net profit is. I haven't looked that far yet, but I think in general, these financial results were actually better than what people were expecting. And I think the fact that this came out after market close on an OTC stock, which means that there's no after hours trading whatsoever, and the fact that it just broke the downtrend means that this is probably going to be an earnings winner, which will continue to run. And if you go to the 2-day chart, you can see it had a really nice 2-day chart. 5-day chart? Yeah, so you can see here, it had a really nice run, and then it came back down and just has been consolidating since then. So I think this thing could honestly have, especially if the whole OTC market is running, this has the potential to break past this level right here at 21, dub 21, and continue on past that. And it's going to be really easy to read the momentum on this stock. When it starts to turn at the top, it's going to be pretty easy to read because those walls are so big. So on a stock like this, I feel comfortable taking like 5 million shares. And with 5 million shares, you make 1/100th of a penny, that's $500. So you make 5, if this breaks above 21, you're making $2,500. I think that's a pretty decent trade. And the thing is, you're buying 5 million shares, you're still a tiny player. You're still a small fish in a big pond. So you still have the liquidity to get out. This was trading, if I go to 3 months, just so you can see the daily, this traded on the lowest day, almost 8 billion shares. So if you buy 5 million, you're not even a big percentage of that. And with the earnings, news that came out, it could trade more than 28 million shares. 28 billion shares. So we'll see what happens, guys. But I'm pretty excited for this stock. And again, you don't have to nail it big to make some decent money. If I go to this month, you can see HCMC. I traded 12 million shares. I made $800. Some of them I just had to cut for break even. But on one of the days, I made 1/100th with 5 million shares. And I made $500. So you just got to keep that in mind, guys. And I really think this stock is going to be a good example of one that could run. And if you look at my watch list, guys, pretty much the entire week besides Friday, everything was red. Yet this week, pretty much everything is green in double digits, which is pretty crazy. We barely had any red stocks. AOYI had some news, but they were still red. But barely, not red by much. Pretty much everything else was green, guys. So it was a really nice bounce back day, and I think that could continue. Now, the next stock that I want to talk about, again, is OZSC. And this stock held the craziest uptrend all day long. And it stinks because I don't want it to be up here when they get some big news released. I'd rather it be down here so I can buy, way more shares. Because, it's up a lot. It went down. I think it gapped down. Yeah, so it ended up gapping down, I think. And then found a bounce area in that 8-cent area and then came back up. And this is pretty much the same area that it bounced in before. Pretty much the same area. If you look at this, it bounced off of 8.5, and here it bounced off of 8 cents. So in this previous pullback, when it ran up to 27 cents, came all the way back down, bounced off of 8 cents, it bounced off the same area today. Not today, on Friday. And here's the thing. If I go here, you can see Brian Conway, OZSC. This is the CEO of OZSC, and he's saying some crazy stuff. So one of the things he said was he had a call with Blackrock on Friday. Now he has a second call on Blackrock because they asked him, if we gave you $100 million, how would you grow the business? And he says, I guess I gave the right answer based on the size of the call for Tuesday, because I guess they have a lot more people from Blackrock who are going to be on the call on Tuesday. And he says, no more hints, but PRs will be dropping, I promise. So I don't know when that's going to happen, but again, OZSC, when it gets some PRs, if this gets a PR that Blackrock is giving him $100 million, you don't think that would make a penny stock like this run? I think it could see a massive run. And again, it broke the downtrend. It really broke that downtrend. Really broke this downtrend. So this could definitely continue to run, especially if all of OTCs are running. And I'm going to be looking to ride that momentum. I got to be more patient because, I was buying down here, but I sold into little spikes like that. Buy again, selling the spikes. So I need to take more advantage when it's holding an uptrend all day long because it never broke the uptrend. it never broke the uptrend. So you can take pretty big size if you're willing to be patient and just wait for it to break the uptrend overall. And I mean, I guess it's not as clean as some of the other ones. You know, it's kind of a way above the uptrend, and it's tough to risk that many cents. So I mean, that's probably why I guess I was a little more hesitant on this one, but definitely be watching this one for continued movement tomorrow. Now, the next stock that I want to talk about is EYES, and EYES. I guess they talk about, I don't know, they're a company that relates to seeing vision. I don't know why they're called EYES, but for whatever reason, this stock has a low float under 10 million. If I look, it says 6.27 million on Trade Ideas, and I tweeted out that this stock would be a good short on the break of the uptrend with tight risk, because I've seen these stocks squeeze, you know, a ridiculous amount. And I said with tight risk because otherwise it could squeeze another 200%. So I mean, this is the type of stock that I would look to short, because I mean, it was 143 yesterday, and it forms a perfect uptrend here. And I mean, just starts going, man, just holding this uptrend perfectly. If I keep going, you can see every single time it comes back down towards that uptrend, people buy it and it can't break down. And then it goes absolutely exponential and starts short squeezing, guys. This turns into a massive squeeze, goes far away from the uptrend, and goes all the way up to $9.89. So it can't break through that $10 mark. And then it comes back down, rejects the break of the uptrend. I mean, it still holds the uptrend and sees another little mini squeeze. Still can't break the uptrend. And then finally, when it does break the uptrend, you know, it starts fading all the way back down. But I mean, this stock is insane, guys. I know some people who were short short 100,000 shares at 250 on this stock, because I think this took everyone by surprise. And when the entire market is red, it kind of turns into a scenario where people get more aggressive shorting because they just expect everything to fail, which can turn into these crazy short squeezes. And that's how you get a stock that goes from 143 one day all the way up to, you know, $10 pretty much. $10. I mean, that's an insane runner. That's an insane runner. So this stock, honestly, it probably is just going to fade off. But if it keeps holding these gains and comes back and breaks through $10, things could get really, really interesting. You can see here, I mean, there's kind of some resistance in this area, so it pretty much just rejected over that and came back down. Look at all that volume, man. Absolutely insane amounts of volume today. I think ears also was running. I traded that for a little bit, but I mean, this literally was just a sympathy play to that. Eyes, ears, if they had feet, I mean, B-O, I don't know. I'm not going to try to... You guys can think of some four-letter body parts, but here, I mean, this is just one of those sympathy plays. So you just got to know that when something runs that creates sympathy plays, the other thing is going to run. Same thing with GME and KOSS and AMC, all that stuff. So there's always these plays that run together, and this just happens to be one of those. So I think if you're into NASDAQs, definitely keep an eye on EYES, because if it holds that $5 area, I mean, it held it pretty well. If it holds that and continues to hold that, breaks above $10, this thing honestly would not surprise me to see it at $30, $40, $50. That's the power of low float stocks. So just keep that in mind. Again, I'm probably just gonna be focusing on OTCs because that's where I feel my advantage is, and you can't really cut super quickly if you get in and it goes against you on a NASDAQ stock, because it's just a little bit too choppy. It's just a little bit too choppy. Momentum is like this versus OTC. It can be like this, you know. So I feel like NASDAQs can be more explosive, but you gotta be careful and you gotta be a little bit more patient. So maybe trade smaller size, etc. That would be what I would do if I were to trade this. MMEX also had a really nice rebound. This thing literally, I mean, my goodness, this thing was just trashed. I think there's people in the Discord holding from an average of 2 cents, 2.1 cents, something like that, down 90% on their position. And I guess it's finally trying to bounce here. First green day, got a decent amount of volume. So we'll see what happens if the entire OTC market keeps running. This thing could keep running as well. And this is similar to HCMC in the fact that it's a very, very cheap stock, which means that every single uptick, every single increment, every single hundredth of a penny has a ton of sellers and a ton of buyers. So it's literally just fighting between those walls, which makes it a little bit easier to read the momentum. Now, I don't think there's nearly as many shares on MMEX as there are on HCMC, so the walls probably aren't as big, but just keep that in mind, guys. This is a former supernova, and I mean, it could run from 20 cents all the way up to 60, 70 cents in one day. I wouldn't be too surprised. So just keep that in mind. I mean, we've seen what this can do in the past. There's probably a lot of bag holders, so I doubt it's going to run all the way up there again because there's probably people who are just going to be selling their 90% losses when it turns into a 60% loss because they just want to get some kind of recovery out of it. So definitely be aware of that on this chart, but that's what I'm going to be looking for on this one. Again, all the other stocks that I'm always trading, guys, I'm going to just be watching them. I'm going to be watching them for whatever happens. INKW, I mean, literally everything was running, guys. ENZC was running. Everything was breaking out to new high day, holding these strong uptrends all day long. AITX was running all day long. Had some stronger runs, some pullbacks, but pretty much holding an uptrend for all the afternoon. I mean, wow, it was beautiful. It really was nice. MJNA, my old friend. I mean, wow. No, wait, that's not what MRNJ. I think that's what it was. MRNJ. I think that was actually running too. MRNJ. I think that was, this was actually running too. I mean, again, I traded it back here on this day and it died, but it actually went above there and now it's coming back. So, man, lots of stocks moving, guys. Lots of stocks moving in the OTC land. TSNPD spiked super hard, rejected, didn't make a lower low, and then uptrended and actually broke high a day right going in towards the end and closed at high day. So this probably would have been a good overnight long on the first green day after a couple days. Even though it broke down below this level. So we'll see what happens, guys. I think the only reason this bounced was because everything bounced and the entire stock market was bouncing. So we'll have to see what happens, but I'm excited. I think this could run, and if it keeps running, if the entire OTC market is green, I'm going to look to take advantage of that. Obviously, I'm still managing risk, guys. So if by some stroke of nature, everything's red tomorrow, I'm going to be prepared for that, and I hope you are too, because I don't want to see everyone go in super aggressive expecting everything to be really green, and then it's a massive red day and everyone loses a ton. So still go in knowing that at a moment's notice, everything could turn red. So you just got to be prepared for that. MIDI actually had a really nice comeback. Again, I'm still holding. I'm up to 160,000 shares of MIDI now. This is my only swing position, and it's been kind of ugly, honestly. I mean, we haven't had any press releases, haven't even had any SEC filings in several weeks. So because of that, it's been fading off. But has anything changed fundamentally? Nope. And for me, this is a long-term investment. So I'm willing to hold this for years if need be. And I would be extremely surprised if it's not above where it is now in years. I'd be surprised if in months it's not above where it is now. So I don't plan on selling. But I mean, we'll just see what happens, guys. If I can get up to, maybe 200,000, it'd be nice. But I don't want to put too many of my eggs in one basket. So for that reason, I'm trying to limit the total amount of my account size that I have in one stock, because you never know, guys. If the entire market keeps bleeding, we could see everything fall, even great stocks. So just keep that in mind. But I think once we get some news on this thing, it's going to spike a ton. And I mean, it could probably break past this 60-cent mark. Maybe it'll take a couple press releases to do that. But I make, I make $1,600 for every penny this moves up. So yeah, I mean, you do the math, guys. That's gonna be a lot of money when this thing starts moving. So I'm just waiting for that. I trust the management team, and closing your high days as well. So we'll see what happens, but I'm very excited for tomorrow. Hopefully you guys are as well. If you're not in the Discord yet, definitely check it out. Links in the description. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you made it to the end, oh God, I don't have any animals for you today, guys. Maybe if you can spell crème brûlée. If you can spell that, comment that below. And I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you in the Discord tomorrow. Until then, you know the drill. Let's grow better together.